with Monica's dog, the dog didn't really want the food very much and was jumping on her, right? The dog really wants to play. And so sometimes we can work through that by making the food more active, more like a toy, right? But no, not necessarily. Yeah, so more active, more like a toy. And then sometimes it's just you have to experiment with different treats. So maybe the treats she's using, the dog just doesn't think are that great, right? So I always mess around a little bit with different methodologies, right? And if she moves too much, the dog's gonna want to start playing again. And so I want her to be able to move a little less and see if we can't motivate the dog to take the food. So my goal with this dog for a little bit of food, this dog's gonna eventually be transferred to a toy, right? But in the short term, I'd wanna get the dog really hungry. So we're gonna deprive the dog of food a bit here over the next few days, and then experiment with different treats and see if there's something specific that the dog really seems to like. Then we can start working all the beginning shaping of behavior and go from there. And we'll see how that goes. Sometimes when you're working with a young dog, you just have to push some different buttons, right? And so we've talked about different ways of increasing motivation. Deprivation's one. Quality of reward. So some dogs like just things better than others. So we tend to think of a hierarchy like, okay, kibble would be here, and then maybe you have a treat roll here, or maybe you have like raw meat here, or whatever, right? So we think this way, but dogs have their own hierarchy. So one dog really loves the Happy Howie stuff, and another dog's like, nah, not so much, right? I've had dogs that are kooky for their kibble, but if you try to give them what we would consider better treats, they're not that interested in them, right? They're all different kind of in what they like that way a little bit. So there's a kind of general pattern. Certain types of treats tend to be more palatable and higher value to dogs than others, but we need to let that dog tell us what it is. And so with puppies, there's always a little bit of experimentation to see, hey, if I switch treats, what's that? And so some of the treats that are human food that we use as treats for dogs sometimes, string cheese is one of them. That's really nice. It's super easy to cut up in pieces. You can buy big boxes of it at Costco, and it's not super pricey as far as that goes. It's not more expensive than the treat rolls and things that we use. And then hot dogs is another. You can get inexpensive hot dogs. Hot dogs lots of dogs love them, but they're kind of greasy and slippery. So when we start doing certain things, they're very hard to hold on to, right? And then just mess around, experiment, right? And see if you find something that your dog finds more palatable. And normally, with a lot of the puppies, I make up for a lack of food motivation with activity, with dynamic food work. But that's going to be a problem for this dog, because if she moves too much, the dog's going to start wanting to bite her and jump on her again. So let's see if we can prevent the dog from doing that and see if this works enough to hold the dog's attention. Most young German Shepherds have a lot of predatory drive. They like to chase stuff. The movement is a big deal for them, right? And so you get a lot better attention and activity from your shepherds if you're moving as a part of your rewards. Big deal. Other dogs don't care that much. Somebody comes in with a basset hound, and the dog may not care at all about you running around, and it just says, give me the treat, would you? If you're gonna run, I'll sit here and wait for you to come back, right? So there are dogs that are like that have good hunger drive, but they have very, very little. Most dogs like the movement, right? They find it more valuable. And then a lot of our working type, herding type, hunting type breeds really like the movement, right? It's a big deal for them, yeah.